Hello everyone. Welcome to SRX Creates. This is the lecture 2 or part 2 of level organizations of life. This chapter isn't very a complex chapter, but this chapter is very lengthy and very explanatory. There are most topics which are very new. Okay. Now today I will be just discussing with the topic I left over last day. So acid, bases, salts. I will discuss about this topic, but let's start from the first of the chapter. Today I have brought the screenshots of the chapter from the respective books only, as I think textbooks are better here. Okay. Now see, if you have Shatra, there's no problem. I have used Book Syndicate here because I found that Book Syndicate has the most lucid way here. Now, let's start. Scientific study of different levels of organization, living beings, helps us to gain an insight into the complexities of the structure functioning. Every organism on Earth, from the smallest to the largest one, follow this orientation. Now, if I get deep down to this paragraph, you can see that the diversity among which we talked about in chapter 1 is a complexity. Where does this complexity forms? It forms in the structure and function. Okay. Now, this complexity varies in different levels, different genera. Okay. Clear? Now, from smallest to largest means from a unicellular to a multicellular, this orientation is being followed. Means the hierarchy here means the range, the arrangements of complexities from different levels, different substratums is followed here. Okay. Now, there are several levels of organization. This level of organization is termed as from an subatomic level to a huge level. I am going to repeat that topic again, that from an cell there's a tissue, from a tissue there's a tissue system, from tissue system there's an organ, from an organ there's an organ system, from an organ system there's an organism. Okay, I have discussed about this topic in my last lecture also. Now just read out this. They are atom in sequence. They are atom, molecule, organelle, cell, tissue, organ, organ system, organism. Listen, I know that you will found some difficulties here, that this atom, this molecule, this organelle, this three portion. I know you understand this portion very well. Now let's see. If this is an atom, if we know group of atoms is molecules, means if H is an atom, H2O is a molecule, water molecule, right? Okay. Now, let's say this pack of molecule, we all know that molecules are togetherly called compound, right? Now, this compound, let's say the chemical components, the constituents make up organelle. Let's say a ribosome, let's say a mitochondria, let's say an endoplasmic reticulum, These all are cell organelles. Like we have organs, cell has its specific organs. We will learn about this topic in this specific chapter only. These organelles make up a cell. This cell now follows this sequence. Okay, I think you are clear with this topic. No, if you want to read this trivia you can, but I'm skipping this. Now, what are we made up of? Why these components are so important? So on a physical level means our physical structure, our external appearance, our physical, like if we are fat, if we are slim, if we are skinny, if we are mediocre, if we are something like which is physically, morphologically, phenotypically. Okay, physical level, according to, means physical means it's our body at last. There are simply enormous complexes of interacting chemicals. In the first chapter, you were introduced to metabolism, chemical reactions already occurring in our body every single time. So, interacting chemical here means the same topic only. No. If you separate a living organisms, if you separate a bird into its molecular or its constituents, subatomic constituents, levels of constituents, you find 70% of water. Every one of us knows that our body is made up of 74% of water. I don't know if you have this knowledge, but in our class 8 we had a subject called EVS where we were taught about that the elephant body is consisting of 80% of water. Okay, that was a small GK, you can say. Now, the remainder of each organism is composed of organic molecules which are necessary for life on earth. Now, the leftover of 70 is what? 30%. This 30% is what? Is the organic molecules. Means our body starts with carbon, ends with carbon. Okay, this is all related to thermodynamics, which is in your class 11 chemistry and physics also. But this is the base of carbon. Carbon is what organic compounds, molecules define mainly. Carbon and hydrogen. Okay, every living organisms depends on the set of organic molecules. Set of organic molecules, not one organic molecule, set, comprising its structure, providing life functions. Means, let's say a set means a group of organic molecules. They comprise a structure. Let's say this is an structure. Okay, let's draw the real structure. It's a carbohydrate structure. We will find it later. Okay, CH2 OHH OHH HOH HOH. Okay, this is a carbohydrate structure. These all are organic compounds. There are all C's. Okay, these portions are C. These are side chains. Okay, these are all compounds. So see, set of organic compounds, set of carbons, comprising a structure, providing life functions. You know carbohydrates, chapati, rice. Okay, I think this is clear. Now, organic molecules are called biomolecules. Everything that is organic, we can say, means compared to biology. Biomolecules, organic molecules, create living cells assembling its cellular membranes, forming internal structures, storing and relating hereditary informations. Means this biomolecules, one by one, grouping each other, they form living cells. Assembling means into cellular components, they are getting packed together. Means this formation is being seen. Okay, this formation is being seen. And forming internal structures means organelles. Then storing and relate means this storing and hereditary information undergoes into the DNA portion, which carries our hereditary or genetic materials. Okay, see, this portion I am talking about. Let me see. At the base of all organic molecules, the element is carbon, whose versatility provides a key to all biomolecule structures. Okay, organic molecule is carbon. In most molecules, a linked chain of carbon atoms form a backbone to which all other atoms attach. I think this is clear as I have already explained it. Organic molecules are linked chain of carbon atoms. See, if let's say the pointer, okay, linked, okay, done. At the base, it's carbon. Without carbon, an organic compound is just unacceptable or it's not done. Okay, done. Now the versatility, there are thousands of biomolecules. Okay, clear? I think clear. And one last thing, to which another atom attaches. See, I think you are clear with this topic because this is the base of biomolecules. If you understand this, 11 is easy for you. Now, what are the components of a living body? Compounds of life. Components. Let's see. All living systems are built up of composed of atoms and molecules. Everything is built up of atoms and molecules. Okay, every single particle. The biomolecules determine the structure, function of different cells. Structure, function, nucleic acids, DNA. A cellular pool is composed of inorganic and inorganic molecules. Now, what's a cellular pool? This is a very complex topic which is resolved by an experiment practically, if I say. This cellular pool is, means if I say it's a, let's say this is a pool, water. This water pool has all components of something specific. Now this cellular pool, if the A component is, let's say the A component is organic and B component, sorry, not organic, solid, and B is liquid. If we strain the cellular pool, the organic and inorganic or the solid or liquid components can be divided very easily. It's very easy to dissociate. So this is what cellular pool is being defined at its base as whatever I know actually. Okay. And organic means mainly carbon, and inorganic here means everything except carbon, like nitrogen gas, ammonia. Okay. Biomolecules are micromolecules and macro. Micro means which are small, microscopic, and macro or macro means which can be seen with naked eye, and micro are without naked eye. Okay. Now, water. Everyone knows what water it is. It's 70% of our body, and 60-80% of the cell contents. Means what is the water content in a cell? It's 60 to 80%, and in the protoplasm it's 70 to 90%. Very important question. Water is the abundant compound of living beings, and most intracellular reactions occur in an aqueous environment. Life on earth began in an ocean. Hot dilute soup in chapter 1, I think it's very clear. Now see, intracellular reactions. Now let me explain you one thing. Intra and inter, these are two terms you will find in biology or any other subject maybe. Inter means international. Okay, international, I think you know this. International means two countries, let's say India and for example, let's take America. India and America, they have friendship. It means they have inter friendship. And intra means West Bengal and Jharkhand. If they are friends, they are intra, means they are not international, they are in the same country. Okay, so it's intra means if you react with the components of your own cellular particle, you are an intracellular reaction. And if you react with the particle of a different cell, it's an intercellular reaction. Okay, I think it's clear. Now, minerals. Okay, minerals are what? They constitute 1 to 3% of the cell content, which are very essential for life activities. Okay, essential minerals. Okay, required in large quantities for proper growth and metabolism are called macronutrients. I think when we were in chapter 1, we already knew about this metabolism portion where large quantities for proper growth, this portion was talked about. Minerals are required for metabolism. What are they? I think you don't know these things, the names of the elements according to the symbol. So Ca is calcium, S is sulfur, P is phosphorus. School may ask you these questions, these are very important. Mg is magnesium, please write this. Fe is iron, K is potassium. Don't get confused with P and K because P is phosphorus, K is potassium. Okay, remind this thing, when an element starts with P, there will be two P's in the full name, means phosphorus, P, and potassium, only one P, means it's K. Okay, done. Now, Na is sodium, C is carbon. And minerals which is required means these are the large quality, okay, large quantity. They require in a large quantity, they are essential, and which required in less quantity means small quantity. These are called micro, means cobalt, manganese, molybdenum, zinc, chlorine. Clear? I think it's clear. These are less. This is micro and macro. Macro means a huge, micro means a small. Okay. Now, gases from less than 0.5 means gases take a very small part of the cell content. Now, O2, CO2, ammonia means O2 means oxygen, ammonia, CO2 means carbon dioxide, NH3 means what? Ammonia. These gases being soluble in water occurs in dissolved state. Now, this line, what's soluble? The thing which gets dissolved in water are called soluble. Means sugar is dissolved in water, it gets dissolved, it gets transparent in water, means you cannot dissociate sugar and water like tea and tea leaves. चाय पत्ती और चाय की तरह तुम शुगर चीनी और पानी को एक साथ डिसोशिएट और डिफरेंशिएट नहीं कर सकते, जैसे वैसा ही after getting dissolved, of course, occurred in dissolved state. Dissolved state here means it's mixed. Acid and bases, already discussed about this in the last class. Let's repeat this. Certain chemical compounds release hydrogen ions. Ions means they will have a charge, plus or minus. Now, plus and minus is a sign for you guys. Still, you have studied mathematics, but in science, plus and minus defines as charge. What is a charge? Charge is a specific property like attraction and repulsion, of course. Okay, charge, electricity, charge. Okay, these topics. Charge, plus and minus. Plus and minus. Plus is positive, minus is negative charge. When the compounds are placed in water, remind this, placed in water, these are called acids. Means if a compound dissociates into H plus ion in water, it's acid. Clear? There's nothing hard. If I say HCl, H plus, Cl minus, You all know that hydrochloric acid is HCl. It's an acid, hydrochloric acid. So CH plus HCl minus. H plus. Here you go with acid. Now, the certain chemical compounds that attract hydrogen atom when placed in water, these are called bases. Now, this can be a definition also with this OH minus, which dissociate into OH minus. If I say NaOH, it dissociates into Na plus OH minus, sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide. Okay, Na plus OH minus. This is OH minus dissociates. Means see, if they do not attract, okay, plus here means they are in less. Okay, plus means less and minus means they have gained more. So if they do not attract hydrogen here, how will they be minus here? If they are minus means they attract more hydrogen atoms when placed in water, so they dissociated. So after placing in water, this form creates a minus charge here, which means it's attracting hydrogen atoms and it's in base. Clear? And the characteristics of base, etc., means base can neutralize acids, acids can neutralize bases. These problems are already talked in the last lecture. Please visit that video for your information. Salts, they are combination of acid and base through neutralization reaction. Now, what's a neutralization reaction? Very good question. Acid plus base gives salt plus water. This is what a neutralization reaction means. Now, if I say HCl plus NaOH, what's the formula of water? Let's write H2O. No, 1H, 1HO. Now, what's remained? NaCl. Now, NaCl is common salt. We all know that NaCl is salt, so there's salt. What's water? Water H2O, and this is an acid, this is an base. We talked here acid, base. I think it's clear now. Very good. Now, mineral salts. We talked about minerals, but we didn't talk about mineral salts. From mineral salts from the solid structure of living things such as skeleton, mineral salts are involved in chemical reactions. Okay, clear? Means they form the, if I say, the base structure, solid structure among which we are being able to stand right now, maybe. Okay, organic compounds. Now this is a very huge topic. If I say there are around this much topic we will cover today, so the video can be long. Please do not lose your patience, or you can do one thing, see half of it, take rest, and then open it again. I don't need your watch time. I don't need the money from here. I want to make you understand. Okay, organic compounds make up 95%. Okay, one thing more, I am interrupting again. You can watch the video in 1.5x. It's your wish. If you can allow it to your brain, if your brain allows it to you, you can understand that. 1.5x. Now, organic compounds make 95% of the dry weight. Now, dry weight means what? Dry weight. The phrase is what? Dry weight. Now, what's weight? Weight, we all know what we measure. What we measure is what weight is, na? If I weigh my means my body weight. So what's that? Let's say it's 60 kilos. Right? It's 60 kilos. Now what's dry weight? Dry weight is what? Without excess fluid, means the fluid portion is removed. Fluid portion is removed. In that case, it's called dry weight. Means the weight of an organism or material after all its water content has been removed. Means the water content, the absence of water content in something is told here about what dry content is. Okay, clear? Protoplasm. The smaller molecules, it includes smaller molecules in the micro and macro. Okay. Smaller molecules, it includes inorganic compounds, water, minerals, gases, and organic compounds like sugars, lipid, amino acid, nucleotides. Water we all know, minerals we all know, gases we all know, organic sugar, lipid, amino acid, nucleotide we will study it later, no pressure. And now, simple sugars. Simple means what? It's simple. Sugars are carbohydrate containing hydrogen and oxygen in the same ratio as water, 2:1. Means if I say H2O, H has 2 and O has only 1, so it's 2:1. And carbohydrates, hydrogen and oxygen are also there like that. Typically broken down to release energy to animal body that are quickly absorbed. Means what's the use of eating food? Just for closing the bonds of our appetites to concentrate on studies? No, it's to make out energy. It's to have energy in our own body so that our body runs. Okay, runs means doesn't means to run, it means so that it can undergo its all works. Now, amino acids are building blocks of protein. Now, protein is made up with amino acids. This line is clear. Now, these are made up of CHON and sometimes of S. Now, what are CHON? Very tricky question. No, it's not very tricky. C is carbon, H is hydrogen, O is oxygen, N is nitrogen, and S is sulfur. I talked about this, no? Sulfur. These are very common. You have to learn these things. There are 20 amino acids, okay? There are 20 amino acids. The name are not required, but there are a few like lysine, leucine, valine, tryptophan, okay? Which are normal components. These 20 amino acids are normal components of cell protein, like normal. Animals cannot synthesize this all amino acids, means they require some in ready form to get the food. These are called essential amino acids. Now, there's a concept. Like amino acids, there are two types of amino acids, non-essential and essential. It's very funny that the amino acids we require, we do not have it in our body. We have to take supplements for that. Food supplements, anything. Okay. And the non-essentials are already present. Okay. I think it's clear. Fatty acids. Important components of lipid. Now, lipid is what fat is. Here, okay. You have to consider it like that. Fat soluble components of living cells are only lipids. Fat soluble means which can dissolve. Fat dissolving. In plants, animals, and microorganisms. Microorganisms which are what? The organisms which we cannot see with our naked eyes. Now, generally, a fatty acid consists of a straight chain of an even number carbon atoms. Even means 2, 4, 6 carbon. And straight chain means straight chain with hydrogen atoms along with the length of the chain at one end. Hydrogen atoms along the length of the chain. Length of the chain, the hydrogen atoms also differ, and they at one end of the chain, a carboxylic group. Now, what's a carboxylic group? It comes in the end, okay? Let's say this is the end of the chain. This is an acid group. This is mainly a functional group in organic chemistry. In class 10, you will learn about this. Okay. Nucleotide is an organic molecule made of nucleotide base, nitrogen containing ring structure, 5 carbon sugar, that's ribose or deoxyribose, means no oxygen, so deoxy, and 1 phosphate group. Nucleotides makes the basic units of DNA and ribonucleic acid RNA. Means RNA and DNA are the main genetic structures we have, and these are made up of these nucleotides. DNA makes up the nucleotides, and these nucleotides are made up of 5 carbon sugar, that's ribose, deoxyribose, and phosphate group. Okay. The macromolecules are large, complex, have high molecular weight. Of course, macro means high, large, so they have high. Now, polysaccharides Protein, lipid, nucleic acid are the most important macromolecules. They are polymers of sugar, amino acid, fatty acid, amino acid, nucleotides, respectively. Sorry for the slip of tongue, but let's understand this. Now, polysaccharides. What's monosaccharide? Let's say this. This is a monosaccharide. This is what polysaccharide is. Many monosaccharide gives to a polysaccharide. Now, what's polymer and monomer? Monomer is the single unit. Polymer is the group of monomers is called polymer. Okay. The example of a moti chain, like one moti, two moti, three moti, gives up to a moti ka mala, and one moti itself is a monomer. Okay. Now this chart, it's a very important chart. I have bring this specifically from this book due to a problem, because in Shatra you will not find this type of thing. Okay, Shatra is specifically very complex book for students who are not great in biology and do not have those knowledge. It's very actually it's very complex and very lengthy also. This is very short out there. Now if I say if you actually require the names of those proteins, you can write it. I am just dictating those: glycine, alanine, serine, cysteine, aspartic acid, glutamine, methionine, threonine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, lysine, histidine, arginine, phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan, proline. Okay, now this portion of I will attach it here if I can, or I will give it in the description box. Okay, and one more, this essential and non-essential. Now essential amino acids are those which are not synthesized in our body and are obtained from our diet for normal nutrition. I said you this. What are those? Valine, leucine, isoleucine, threonine, tryptophan, lysine, methionine, phenylalanine, arginine, histidine, and non-essential amino acids are synthesized in our body and therefore may not be obtained from our diet. Serine, tyrosine, glycine, alanine, proline. Okay, I think this is clear. This portion you will get question answer, line by line question answers from this book also. No need to worry. Now, see, carbohydrates. I draw this structure previously. Draw this structure previously. Now, there's no need to practice the structure specifically, because if your school asks it, do it. But if your school doesn't ask us for elements and chemical formula, okay, elements and chemical formula is the most important thing. Now, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, carbohydrate. Okay, carbohydrate is made up of carbon, hydrogen, oxygen. So CHO, C means his CHO ratio here means C is 1, H is 2, O is 1. Okay, this is the ratio. This is the formula, glucose formula. Means, see, there are there are 6 carbons. See, 1 carbon, 2 carbon, 3 carbon, 4 carbon, 5 carbon, 6 carbon. 6 carbons, 12 hydrogens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. See, 12. Now 6 oxygens. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6, okay. C6H12O6. Function is, main source is what? Energy. Now monomer is the sugar of polysaccharide. Polysaccharide, starch in plants. These are examples: glycogen in plants, glycogen in animals, and starch in plants. Examples are glucose, fructose. Example of food is sugar, starch, potatoes, pasta, and others. Sugars end in ase. Means this is the one characteristic to identify. Ase. Ase or O's, I think. Let me check. Let me check it once. Is this correct here? This info is correct here. You can, I have to give you something else. Wait. Leave this topic, leave this A's portion. I am giving you something else. See, C6H10O5N. This is the general formula of polysaccharide, okay? General formula of polysaccharide. General means this N value can be 1, 2, 3, 4, and you can be asked for this general formula, so remind this. The protein structure is again not important. Carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, HCHONPS means phosphorus, sulfur is also there. A COOH and NH2 and an R group. R group is an alkyl group. And CaOOH is carboxylic group and NH2 is amine or amino. That's amine group. And function, mainly functions are important. And this monomer polymer, an example. Control rate of chemical reactions, rate controlation. Cell process regulation means enzyme and hormone, already I said in the previous lecture. Muscle formation, transportation, immunity. Amino acid, as I said, protein, building blocks of protein, amino acid. And polymer is protein or polypeptide chain. Meat, poultry, eggs, beans, soybean, soy nut, peanut, butter, enzymes. These are one of the most important biomolecules. Enzymes. Nucleic acids, DNA, RNA, carbon, hydrogen, oxygen, nitrogen, phosphorus. Clear? Stores and transmits genetic information. Codes for protein. There are specific codes for genetical transformation, transportation. Okay. Nucleotide is sugar, monomer, nucleotide, sugar, phosphate group, phosphate pH. And nitrogen is base, polymer is nucleic acid. Okay. Deoxyribonucleic acid and ribonucleic acid, DNA and RNA full form. Okay. Examples of nucleic acid. Act as genetic material, energy producing ATP also. Okay. And lipid means what? Lipids are fat also. Ignore the sound of the plane flying over my roof. Contains primarily carbon and hydrogen. Has a COOH group and okay. Stores energy, makes up biological membranes, waterproof coverings, and insulation. Insulation means to just get resist often something, like insulator. Like if you have seen that nowadays the handles of frying pans are of Teflon, so that when we will touch it, we not get the heat exactly. Okay. Now monomers are usually glycerol and fatty acid chains, fats, oil, waxes, biological membranes. Example, cholesterol. Our example does not dissolve in water, means not soluble. This information is important. Okay. Now I think this is 41 minutes. Think now we come to the portion where it is in very concise content. Okay. Now, if I say these complex carbohydrates or polysaccharide, now these complex carbohydrates contain 2 or more monosaccharides in their molecules. Contains 2 or more than 2 monosaccharide molecules. Okay. In their molecules actually means in polysaccharide. Okay. Now this complex polysaccharide are divided into disaccharide and polysaccharide. Disaccharide is composed of 2 and poly is more than 2. Okay. Clear? Now the examples of disaccharide are, means mainly plant disaccharide are sucrose and maltose. And lactose is a plant and lactose is the common animal disaccharide. Okay. The empirical formula is C12H22O11. Empirical means This is not the molecular formula, it's a general formula. The multiply with n, that can be 1, 2, 3, 4, determines its molecular formula. Okay. Now polysaccharide, as I already said, large number of monosaccharide, more than 10, actually more than 10 also. More than 2 though, of course, but more than 10. They're also called, other name is glycans. Okay, glycans, they're long chained. Write these informations, okay. They may be branched or unbranched, like they can be, if this is a compound, let's say these are branched, these are all right, these are branched, okay, or unbranched, okay, or unbranched. And general formula is C6H10O5N. Examples are starch, glycogen, cellulose. Now, if I say the importance or biological importance of this specific polysaccharide, we can say, or carbohydrates actually, we can say they reserve food like sugarcane, sugar beet, like sucrose storage, and lactose can be milk, natural sugar of milk, lactose, then source of energy, and chitin as a material of fungi which forms the exoskeleton of arthropod we learned in animal kingdom. Okay, and cellulose is a roughage value for human beings, also fodder value of cattle. These are just bookish language, you can write this. Now what will be your homework here? You have to read this paragraph on your own. I will only explain you this thing in my note structure, okay? In my note structure. Definitely. Now, amino acid. Building block of protein already we know. Now they have at least one. At least one means one will be there and more than one can be. At least one means NH2 group. NH2 amino group. Okay, and one free means it's not branched with something, free, COAH group, carboxylic group. Now they behave like base with acid and acid with base, means when there is base they will react as acid, means, and the vice versa, like acid, wait, yes, acid with alkalis and alkalis with acid. Okay, they're amphoteric means which show both the characters of acid and base. Protein, I already saw means said the names, like glycine, alanine, serine, cysteine, aspartic acid, glutamine, methionine, threonine, valine, leucine, isoleucine, lysine, histidine, arginine, phenylalanine, tyrosine, tryptophan, and proline. I'm not saying that it's a one-day task to learn this. Mine is learned because I have already studied this in class 9 also, in class 11th also. And essential and non-essential, already said. Essential are synthesized in, are not synthesized in our body, essential EAA, and non-essential NEAA are synthesized in our body. Okay, these are from protein diets mainly, and these are in our body only. Okay, now biological example of amino acids are what you know. They are the building blocks, of course, they're the first. And tyrosine, the amino acid tyrosine, gives two hormone, thyroxine and adrenaline, and skin pigment melanin. As I said in the last lecture, I think melanin is our skin pigment in skin actually. Okay, now vitamin, there's a vitamin, and then hormone, plant hormone, indole acetic acid, indole group acetic acid is a group CH3COOH, and the indole group attached with that acid, that's indole acetic acid, is a plant hormone which is produced from tryptophan, and in vitamin nicotinamide is produced from tryptophan amino acid. Okay, now from histidine and from histidine, histamine is derived. Okay, histamine. Okay, clear? Histidine is an amino acid, essential amino acid. Anything more? No. No. Fatty acid. If you can take good dictation, my lectures will be helpful for you. Okay. Fatty acid. They're the building block of lipid. Building blocks of lipid. Okay. Organic acids. They are organic acids, of course. In end, they have what? COOH group. Already I am talked about this. The common fatty acids have 16 to 18 carbons. Okay. They're insoluble in water, we learned there, and soluble in fat solvents. Fat solvents means what? You can say chloroform, benzene, alcohol. Okay. Now they are produced from hydrolysis of fat. Hydrolysis of fat means the addition of water in a fat compound or something. Okay, clear? Clear. Now, plant can synthesize all types of fatty acid, but animals cannot. Like linoleic acid, linolenic acid, arachidonic acid. They are called essential fatty acid. Arachidonic acid, linolenic acid, linoleic acid. Do not get confused. Linoleic, linolenic, and arachidonic acid. Okay, not synthesized by animals. They are essential fatty acids, and or we can say polyunsaturated. Unsaturated means which is not saturated, which is not complete. Okay. Essential fatty acid must be present in the animal diet. Animal diet, not animal body, animal diet. They occur in most edible oils. Coconut oil, groundnut oil, sunflower oil. We consume this, right? Note essential fatty acids are this EFA. Now biological importance is what? They are building blocks of fat and lipids. Oxidation of this fatty acid gives good amount of ATP or energy. You have already learned ATP. Essential fatty acids are in our normal nutrition and they are required also. Now acetyl coenzyme is a means common intermediate in a reaction, means means substrate, means it's required in a reaction to get transformed. This acetyl CoA is produced from beta oxidation of fatty acid. The beta group is oxidized here, and fat metabolism and carbohydrate metabolism. This intermediate is required, means acetyl CoA, and this acetyl CoA is also needed in the formation of acetylcholine. That's an transmitter by which signals are transferred to our brain through neurons, and neurons are the functional instructional unit of nervous system including is of brain, and brain needs to get the signals. For signals, neurons are there to transform signals from one neuron to other. Acetylcholine and neurotransmitters are there. Clear? Now I think I've explained this. Okay. Now, nucleic acids, or I have to talk with few more topics. Then this topic is not more, I think. Okay. Nucleotides. Actually, nucleic acid constitute the genetic material. Actually, we talked about. Now, DNA and RNA are subunits of nucleotide. Subunits means if this is an nucleotide, these are just subunits. Okay. And each nucleotide is composed of what? Nitrogen base, pentose sugar, a phosphate. Clear? Now nitrogen base is a compound that may be purine. Purine, just understand that purine means two rings. Two rings. And pyrimidine, one ring. Okay. Two types of purine are there and three types of pyrimidine. What are they? Thymine, cytosine, uracil. T, C, U. And two purines are adenine and guanine. G, A. Okay. Now DNA contains all nitrogen bases. DNA contains all these nitrogen bases. These are purine and pyrimidine are nitrogen bases actually. In cyclic compounds. Cyclic compounds means this is a cyclic compound. This is a cyclic compound actually. Also means which have no ends open. These are called cyclic compounds. Okay. All nitrogen bases except thymine have RNA has no thymine and all, and DNA has no uracil but all. Okay, these are exceptions not present in DNA and RNA. Clear? Now the pentose sugar is ribose in RNA and deoxyribose in DNA. Deoxyribose lacks one oxygen at two position. Okay, that's why this is deoxyribose, means the absence of oxygen in second position is why it is deoxyribose. And pentose sugar is ribose, and in RNA is the pentose sugar. This pentose sugar is ribose in RNA and deoxyribose in DNA. Functions, these are building blocks of nucleic acid. Okay, ribonucleotides for RNA, deoxyribonucleotides for DNA. Nucleotides like ATP, known as energy currency of cell, release energy on hydrolysis, means when get acted with water, they produce nicotinamide. Okay, and riboflavin function as coenzymes or prosthetic groups. Coenzyme means which take part with enzymes to complete the work. Protein. I think this is the last topic before we start lipid and nucleic acid. Now, protein is a very long, if I say this is a very long topic, I will not just describe it much, but let's see. Study from here. Proteins constitute 12% of the cell content and nearly 75% of the dry weight. You already know these terms. Linear unbranched polymers of amino acid. Structural basis of cells, helps in growth, repair and maintenance. Function. Okay, this function. All enzyme antibodies and some hormones are also proteins. This portion is only required and question answers you have to study. Now, linear means straight. Not like this. This can be this, means straight line this, but not this. And unbranched means no branching. No branching. Only this type. Structural basis, growth and maintenance and repair. These all are functions. Major roles in life processes is what? Very important molecules in our cells, involved in virtually at all functions. Each protein with the body's specific function, involved in structural support, bodily movement and defense against germs. Now I will just say something which is like not given here. Now the average nitrogen content in a protein is 16%. Typical protein which is of great importance, actually this is not given here, important. Hemoglobin HB is the typical protein of great importance. And protein are of three classifications: primary, tertiary and secondary. Primary, secondary and tertiary actually. Primary are linear sequence of amino acid. Okay, Okay, proteins are linked with what? Peptide bonds. Peptide bonds. And the linear sequence of amino acids are primary structure. The coiled structure, linear coiled and spear folded 3D. Spear folded 3D. 1 degree, 2 degree, 3 degree. Primary, tertiary. Primary, secondary, tertiary. Linear folded is 1 degree. Coiled is 2 degree. Spear 3D folded bonded is 3 degree. Okay, 3 degree protein. Tertiary, secondary, primary. I think it's clear. Let give me some examples now. Primary is insulin. Secondary is maybe, let me see. Okay, let me check. Yeah, keratin. I am sure. Keratin. 3 degrees myoglobin. Now, if I say a biological example, I have already talked about. If you need more, like immunoglobulins or antibodies are protein. Okay, protein act as enzyme. Protein form protective structure like hair nails. Proteins can also form for performance storage as iron storing protein, and fibrinogen and thrombin participate in blood clotting. Those are also protein. Now, lipid. Okay, lipid. Lipid is a derivative, fat derivative. Heterogeneous group means not all groups are same. There are heterogeneous means different types of molecules. These are distributed in both plants and animals and contain more of carbon and hydrogen and less of oxygen. Means carbon, hydrogen is more than oxygen. And they form emulsion. Emulsion means it's like mayonnaise is an emulsion. Okay, mayonnaise is made up of oil and water. Oil and water does not mix, you see. They always get differentiated. But the oil and water can be mixed together to form an emulsion by emulsifying agent. The agent given there which helps it to mix, it's called emulsion. Okay, and this process is emulsion. So when these fats are dispersed, means given to water, they form emulsion. Means lipids are organic substances. We understood that. Now the structure is not needed actually. Structure, you can say that esters of fatty acid with glycerol. Esters of fatty acid with glycerol. I am just explaining these paragraphs and you have to read this at home. Clear? Now this is the structure of DNA and RNA. It's just for your understanding, not explanation. And biological importance of lipid, as I say, energy source, food reserves, solvent, hormone synthesis, fat transport, etc. Clear? Nucleic acid, the last topic of this biomolecules specifically. Proteins are essential for life. They form the genetic material. DNA, RNA are the two classes of nucleic acids. Viruses contain DNA or RNA. DNA is present in some cytoplasmic organs like mitochondria, chloroplastids. RNA is present in both nucleus and in cytoplasm. In general, DNA and RNA are polymers of their unit components like nucleic acid. I've already said these things. DNA and RNA are joined sequentially, one after another, to produce long chains of polynucleotide chains. Means DNA once, RNA once, DNA once, RNA once. This. Okay. Now, detailed structures of nucleotides, both DNA and RNA, are discussed in under micromolecules. Okay, detailed structures. Now, this difference is very important. Like DNA is present in chromosome, and it's present. RNA is present in cytoplasm. DNA is double-stranded and helical. This is called the helical structure. Okay, and this single-stranded means double-stranded means two, single-stranded strand means a string. Pentose sugar is deoxyribose. This is ribose, means one oxygen is absent here. Pyrimidine is cytosine. Thymine, pyrimidine is cytosine. Uracil means thymine is there, thymine is not there. Uracil is there, uracil is not there. DNA is hereditary. RNA is hereditary in only virus. It's in all cells. DNA is transmission of genetic information. RNA is in only protein synthesis. Larger molecules of many nucleotides, smaller molecules of lesser number of nucleotides. Purine and pyrimidine are equal here, and they are not equal. Complete. Role of ATP is already completed. Vitamin and minerals are only left. Now see, vitamin is derived for vita, that means life. Okay, means which is essential for life, and vita and the word amino, it's indispensable radical, that means essential for life. Means the thing which is essential for life is vitamin. That's only carbohydrate, protein, minerals are not enough for normal health. Such food is supplemented by milk. Normal growth and longevity is sustained, means it can be achieved. Sustained means achieved. As a substance was essential for life, chemically in an amino, scientist Funk termed it vitamin. Amine. Vitamins are essential constituents of food other than carbohydrate, protein, fat, required for minute quantity of growth, nutrition, maintenance. Means this minute quantity of growth, nutrition, maintenance, and protection of the body and from infection and diseases is what vitamin is used for. Vitamin is classified into fat soluble and water soluble. Fat soluble means dissolved in fats, and water soluble but insoluble in water. Fat soluble are not insoluble, means soluble in water. They're insoluble in water, and water soluble and not soluble in fat but soluble in water. Vitamin B, C, P are water soluble, and A, D, E, K are fat soluble. You have to remember this. Now, vitamin A, which is known as retinol, is fat soluble. Essential for vision, dim light in night, required for normal bone. Night blindness. These are defective growth of bone, teeth. Cholecalciferol, vitamin D, rickets in children, necessary for formation of teeth. Read these things, okay? If you find any problem, you can ask me. These are just for learn and understanding. Understanding is required, but you see, these are the things. It's very small. Okay, I will give this in question answer format so it's easy for you to learn. Now these are the diseases with the pictures. Very less, but yeah, they have given. Now, all the essential elements for plant and animal nutrition except carbon, hydrogen, and oxygen and mineral elements. The body contains about 24 mineral elements are provided for the diet. Requires different mineral elements for the normal growth and functioning. Mineral elements usually play a very important role in life processes. There are macro and major. Micro and macro. I've already talked about this, right? Already talked about this, so I'm not going to discuss this here. In that first or second slide, I have talked about this. Carbon is necessary for protoplasm. Hydrogen is for animal cell and protoplasm. Oxygen is for means necessary for oxygen and protoplasm. Nitrogen is for body cell and protein formation. Sulfur is for hair nails. Potassium is for nerve cell formation, means neuron. Heart rhythm regulation. Calcium is essential for the bone and teeth. Phosphorus is for formation of bone, teeth, carbohydrate metabolism, constituent of coenzyme. Magnesium is found in certain enzyme like decarboxylase pyruvic acid. Okay. Iron is fat component of blood pigment, hemoglobin and myoglobin. And iodine is constituent of thyroxine hormone. And this is goiter, which occurs due to the deficiency of this hormone. Okay. I think this is done. Thank you for attending this lecture. I found that I think you find this lecture very useful, and I don't think that there is video for English version students. Thank you for attending this lecture. If you like this lecture, please subscribe to my channel, and for question answers you have to just wait till this chapter ends. Thank you.